Hello and welcome to the Voices of the Vic podcast. I'm your host, Ben Aiton. Tonight we are diving into the strange, frustrating and slightly suspicious events at Hull as Watford were frozen out just 20 minutes before kickoff. The pitch playable, the surrounding surfaces iced over and plenty of questions being asked. With Hull's injury list growing and Watford arriving on a four-game winning run, was this really just about the weather or something more convenient? I'm joined as always by Katie Kirkley and Joe Thomas, and we'll get into the ice, the injuries, the rumours around the sprinklers in sub-zero temperatures, and what it all means for Watford going forward. We'll also be discussing the recalls of Max Lane to Manchester City, Claire Wiley to Chelsea, and touch on the reports of Julio Sola and Harry Amas of being rumoured possibilities for the Hornets, and round things off by looking back at Watford's emphatic 3-0 win over Birmingham City on New Year's Day, a performance that only adds to the feeling that maybe this whole team didn't fancy their chances against Watford. There's plenty to talk about, but before we get into it, Joe, how are you doing, mate? Happy New Year.
Yeah, Happy New Year to you and to you, Katie. Yeah, I'm doing all right, thank you. First, proper day back at work today. It was a bit mental, I'm not going to lie, very busy, but good to kind of get back into routine. Very disappointed with yesterday, not going to lie. Obviously, I was nowhere near Hull, but it was still very disappointing to see the game postponed so close to kickoff. Felt sorry for all the supporters and everyone that made the journey for nothing, really, in the end. So, yeah. How about yourself, though? You had a good New Year? Good start to the year?
Yeah. New Year's was good, thank you. Went to football with Kate and Isla. First time all three of us have gone to watch Watford at Vicarage Road. Obviously, I've taken Isla quite a few times this season, and I've been with Kate in the past. So, yeah, nice family day. Had a bit of a family emergency afterwards, but yeah, everything's all good now. But yeah, New Year's all good. It's just same shit, different year, really, isn't it? But yeah, all good on my end, mate. Katie, thank you for joining us tonight. How are you?
Yeah, I'm good. My New Year was stuck at work, so that was enjoyable. But now we're finally entering the quiet period, so I've already had my shift cancelled tonight. So I was very happy about that. I was praying. I didn't want to leave my house at 6 o'clock in -3 degrees. So yeah, happy that now we're entering a bit more of a quiet season, so I can have more time to come and do podcasts. But yeah, really disappointed with yesterday as well. It was just, we'll get into it, but it was just shocking that that's even allowed to happen. But yeah, no, apart from that, all good.
It all seems a little bit suspicious, doesn't it? It's a lot of things we've heard grumbling in the background since the postponement yesterday. For starters, absolutely ridiculous that the decision was made so close to kickoff. For travelling Hornets fans, making 3.5 hours journey, maybe 4 hours up to Hull, up to Humberside yesterday, and being told 18 minutes before kickoff that, well, they weren't even told on the announcement. They was told by the Watford fans that went over with Javi Gracia. I think Matty Pollock was telling the fans, and it's an absolute shambles. I think the EFL need to grab a hold of this and have a look into things further, because things don't add up, Joe, do they?
No, they don't. It's a really strange situation that we were in, because I've never known anything like it. I mean, when you look at the photos, I was just looking on Twitter again at some of the photos, and you can see that there's only sections of the outer bit of the pitch that were covered in ice, really. It wasn't the whole of the surrounding area. It just blows my mind when you see, I'm sure you've seen the photos from Carrow Road before the Norwich-Stoke game that have been posted. There was also photos posted from Middlesbrough as well before their game with Southampton. It was similar. So I'm really confused. And it's not a situation that occurred an hour before kickoff. It was freezing through the night. So if they've noticed it and they've seen that there's a problem, why on earth are they not saying, you know what, it's going to be a bit inconvenient, but you've travelled up here. We'll postpone the game for an hour. Let's kick off at 4:00, and we'll get it moved. We'll remove it. You know, you could have easily gone and got. One of my friends said, could easily gone and got sledgehammers. Like, it's ice. It would have broken up. It would have removed. It just seemed. It seemed really peculiar. I'm going to say that. I mean, it's. I don't think we'll ever see a situation like that again. Obviously, I've seen videos from people travelling down for Portsmouth yesterday. Ipswich fans, they obviously were told quite late in the morning yesterday on their way down. Portsmouth, obviously, a little bit different to other clubs because, along with Preston, they're one that don't have underfloor heating in their grounds. So they're obviously going to be a little bit more susceptible to postponements. Sheffield United and other, obviously, Oxford fans were raging as well. I've seen a video of multiple Oxford fans going on, and I think it's just the way that I don't think fans mind at all. Postponements happen. We've seen that in the past. I've been at Watford, and there's been games like called off. I think if I recall, I don't know if you'll quote me on this, Ben, but Wigan at home, was it? Where there was so much fog.
Us 1-0 up.
And there was so much fog, you genuinely couldn't see the Vicarage Road end, could you? It was that bad from the Rookery. Like, they were like, we're going to have to call the game off. And I was like, fine, you can't see the pitch. Like, what are you meant to do? There's been other cases where games have been called early at Vicarage Road, if I remember, because of concerns of ice down Occupation Road and people slipping over. Again, fine because you've been told early. But 18 minutes and getting all the fans to the ground is diabolical. I was expecting something from Hull today. I'm going to be honest. I thought Hull would have done a decent thing and come out today, apologised, and said what they'd be doing to reimburse fans. But all I'm seeing, I've just had a look, is there's people commenting saying, I don't know whether it's all hearsay, but a lot of people saying EFL are currently investigating and stuff's being done behind the scenes, so no comments being made while they're investigating. So,
well, it's really puzzling. But obviously, we heard the news so short to kick off. But I just feels for all of those travelling Hornets fans up there. Like Mike and Cam from a podcast went up there. They took a selfie and did the thumbs up. I think they was given a thumbs up because they didn't have to see Moussa Sissoko. But that's another topic for another day. But it's what I don't understand, Caity, is they've had the whole couple of days to prepare from their last fixture, which was actually at home. They lost 1-0 to Stoke City. Obviously, the weather's deteriorated since. They've got a sprinkler system. This is only rumours, but we believe it's fairly true rumours, is that the sprinkler system, it was left on automatic and it went off the day before kickoff and later on in the morning in sub-zero temperatures. And it's obviously gone onto the pitch. It's not hardened on the pitch because of the undersoil heating, but it's turned to ice on the surrounding areas of the pitch. And what I don't understand is, I believe the referees have to get to the ground for 11 o'clock in the morning to make sure the pitch is playable. Obviously, they saw the pitch was playable, but by checking the pitch is playable, they've walked all the way over the ice in that area. And no one's thought at that moment in a technical area, this might cause an issue. Hull City have, in my opinions, have kept quiet and they know a lot more than they're letting on. And like Joe says, you would have expected Hull to come out today saying, we'll just give them more details, but they've basically gone through a whole reporter I've seen on Twitter today saying they're not making any further comment at this stage. But what I believe is Watford and Hull will now have to send all their observations across to the EFL, and the EFL will investigate it further. But Hull are keeping very quiet because it's not a coincidence that Hull has got an injury list as long as your arm. Watford are travelling to Hull off the back of a 1-0 defeat to Stoke at home. And they've got all these key players out, and Watford have just won 4 in a row, 3 clean sheets in 4. And it just doesn't add up. And what's your feelings behind this, Caity?
Yeah, I mean, with everything going on, like you said, it does make you think like there could be some foul play in this, and it isn't. Because, like Joe said, these things happen. I understand that things can get called off, but the issue is, and I was even saying this is just in a general perspective. We've had bad weather now since Christmas. It's been cold since Christmas. We've had those below freezing temperatures every night and during the day. For Hull to claim that the situation didn't get any better, everybody has a phone. Everyone can look at the temperature. It was going to stay below 0 degrees the whole day. How can the situation improve? They said in the statement, like, the temperature was declining still. Yeah, it's January. Like, that's just how weather works. And to say in their statement that, both teams agreed to postpone it due to player safety, and then we had to come out and say we never agreed to this. And there's so many rumors that apparently the linesman or people were saying that the game is off at like 12, but they didn't actually say anything. And then it was Hull that said, like, close to kickoff, like, we don't want to play, like, it's not safe for the players. It should not be in the division below the second highest division of football. It should not be acceptable for that to happen. Okay, like Joe said, some grounds don't have under soil heating, so that they are more, fine. That is fine. But like you said, they do it at 11 o'clock or even earlier. They let people know. Sure, not everyone is going to travel. Some might travel the night before. There will be people who are, you can't please everyone. But to do it 18 minutes before kickoff and not even tell the fans in the stadium is like, that should be a forfeit of the game, and we should have got the 3 points, not postpone the game. Or like Joe said, just get an hour, get buckets of boiling water and pour it all over the thing, or just avoid the area where there's ice. Like, I don't understand. It's so woke to me that is how you like to postpone a game like that. And it literally shouldn't be allowed. You shouldn't be allowed to do that. I really hope there's a proper investigation. I'm not going to sit here and say Hull should do this and that, but there was no clarity, no kind of like responsibility in their statement saying, like, obviously they were like, we apologize for the inconvenience, but I'm sorry, but that's not good enough. Like, you knew all day, all morning, all night that the temperature was going to go below 0. It's cold. Everywhere is frozen, let alone a pitch that's had sprinklers on it overnight. Like, obviously, it's honestly unacceptable. And I feel so bad for all the fans that travelled, even the players. Like, they looked gobsmacked in that picture when they were told, they're literally ready to play. And when you add their injury list, our form, like, as much as I'm happy that the silver lining is that we will get a rest and we might have more players back when we next play, and we've got the FA Cup, blah, blah, blah. That's the silver linings. However, we're losing the momentum now because we might not play a strong team for 2 weeks. So you are losing that momentum of being on a run. So, that is a big downside. And I hope that Hull get some kind of punishment for this, because it's unacceptable.
Yeah, no, definitely. I agree. I think off the back of this, I think the EFL really need to like have clearer guidelines and something stronger in place to stop this from happening. They need to make sure that if clubs are in a position where they can say the surrounding areas are unsafe, and you understand safety to players is the key, and you don't want to see any injuries happen. But there was what's frustrating the most is they saw this hours ahead of the decision to postpone, and they had hours at on this to get the game on. And what they have done is not done anything. They've sat on their hands and then made a very late call, which has rightly pissed off a lot of Watford fans. Like, you're not telling me that someone could have gone over to Wicks or something and like got a bag of sand, or like to get some like kilos of salt to like put down in that technical areas to defrost the ice. It's just a joke. But the EFL can't let this happen again. Sheffield United did the same yesterday. I think they had some key players out. Obviously, it happened down at Portsmouth as well. It's just, we shouldn't be. It's 2026. Why are we calling off games for a bit of ice around the pitch? I just don't get it, Joe.
No, well, do you know what? Actually, because obviously I live down here and in Portsmouth, I get the southern news, and they actually said that was Portsmouth's first home postponement in 14 years today. So, I mean, that's how long it's been since they've had to call off a game. It's just, yeah, I find the whole thing really. Do you know what? Actually, I've just seen the comment that's just gone in the chat there from James saying, honestly, the EFL won't deduct points if we're honest. I don't even want Hull to get deducted points. I think the fairest thing is for all three clubs, as much as Ipswich are going for promotion with us, Oxford and Ipswich should just all be awarded a win. It should just be a straight win. That's it. Just get it done with. Like, it just shouldn't be happening. It really shouldn't be happening. Like you said, we're in 2026. These clubs
You're
are
playing in this division. If your ground can't cope with a bit of frost, or you can't sprinkle grit down before a game, leading to a postponement, no one else should have to suffer from that apart from the club. Like,
well, yeah, exactly. I mean, you look at Preston, for example. I've just said Preston haven't got undersoil heating either. The weather is predominantly bad for say till the end of February, beginning of March time, especially up north as well. I mean, we're playing them in mid-February. What's to say there's not going to be an issue there? But I'm sure they'll do their damn hardest to make sure that they've got as many games going ahead as possible between now and then. We're obviously, if we're being completely honest, the EFL investigate it. They'll probably fine Hull £20,000. Hull will use the £20,000 to say, sorry, Watford, we'll pay for your coaches. Your fans can come up for free. And maybe if you're lucky, they'll give a voucher on arrival for maybe a bit of food and a drink as an apology for what's happened. And we'll be going back there either, as James said, if we get knocked out in the fourth round, if we get knocked out of the FA Cup, fourth round weekend's an option. If not, it seems to me, I was reading between Portsmouth and Ipswich today, Ipswich want the game played before the end of the month. So potentially they'll play it. I think they're looking for the midweek between when we're meant to play Blackburn and Swansea. So that's the last week of the month. So potentially we could be going up to whole midweek, which is just enough.
You should get it played as soon as possible, because if you wait a month, Hull could have every single one of their players back. And then, I know that you can't really control that, but it's not really fair. Almost a game that could have almost been like a guaranteed win for us. We don't know what our situation is going to be like in a month. And we don't know what Hull situation is going to be like in a month. It should be played as soon as possible, because you're basically saying it's just an extra midweek game that we don't need, especially in January that's already jam-packed.
I think we're worse off now as well. Obviously, with the news today of Max Elaine going back to Man City, Watford are worse off. He would have played yesterday, would have been available, and we would have been probably a much better chance of coming away for 3 points yesterday than what we probably would do if we play the fixture in the next 2-3 weeks. Because we'll talk about Max Elaine going back to City in a bit, but I just feel like it's all falling apart for Watford with this fixture with Hull. Look, it's all
everything is Hull's fault. Every bad thing that happens to us now, it's Hull's fault. I blame them.
It's obviously all speculation, but you can't look away from what a lot of people are saying. And Joe, I don't know if you remember, Hull City's groundsmen have got they just don't. They haven't got a good history, and I say that because I don't know if you remember, Joe. A couple of years back, their pitch was basically like a beach. Do you remember when it was just covered in sand? It was awful. And I know a few other teams have struggled like that recently, but Hull comes to mind that their groundsmen just ain't great.
Yeah, I do remember that. I can't remember how far back that was, but I do remember playing them, and it looked terrible, didn't it? It looked really, really bad. But yeah, they've not got a good track record at all, and this certainly isn't going to add to it. But it's certainly going to add a bit of spice when we do play them. I think I'd like to think that the Watford fans will be a bit more up for it now. it's nice to have a little bit more of a rivalry going into games even if it is over a silly little thing like not
Bit of
defrosting your pitch. Yeah, I'm sure the Watford fans, and there will be plenty of chanting regarding ice. I can imagine something like
we need to come up with one now.
I think something like Vanilla Ice Baby will be.
Yeah.
It'll be like ice heavy.
Oh man.
But yeah, they well, do you know what? It's going to be interesting because I actually don't know where they're playing in the FA Cup at the weekend. I didn't even bother to look.
I want to say I was listening to Do Not Scratch Your Eyes earlier, and they did a great postponement match review, and I'm pretty sure they said about Blackburn Rovers.
Yeah, they've got a home game at the weekend, and it's going to be cold again. So let's have a little look.
Home.
Yeah, let's see how they cope with that, eh?
I guarantee you, all the ice will be clear.
Oh yeah, definitely. It doesn't take much. Like even putting down like bits of carpet around the edge of the pitch. Like it doesn't take much, does it? Caity.
Sorry.
What I was going to say is, obviously Bristol City next week. I would have gone into that making loads of changes to the team just to rest them, because we would have played probably a full strength team yesterday, which we were, bar Sissoko coming in, and rested loads of players for the FA Cup game. Now I'm feeling the opposite. I want us to play our strongest team against Bristol City because we need to keep this momentum up now. I mean, try and get that win going again and then go into our next league fixture after that. How are you feeling with team selections for the Bristol City game next week?
Yeah, I see both sides. Part of me would, like you said, if we had won at Hull, I would be saying rest, like, you know, let the FA Cup. And, you know, the thing is as well is I wouldn't necessarily say our reserved players are not good. I think a lot of people have been on the bench this season out, and it would be nice to see them get a bit of a run around and, you know, full game. There are people who have sat on the bench all season, even if it means like, you know, Irakunda starting, I don't know, seeing Mendy get a game, like those types of things. I definitely think we'll see some rotations. For me, I want to keep the momentum, but it isn't the end of the world if we play a second team. I think I would start with a second team and have a strong bench. That's what I would choose to do. But like you said, they will have had now an extra week's rest. And for us, we have to keep the momentum going in the league. But I guess you kind of count every game as important. Not that I think a loss there would spin us out of control, but it's just good for morale, I guess. I think even if Javi plays a slightly weaker team or a second team, because I think Bristol will be playing a weak team, I trust the players that they would take it as seriously as any game. And if anything, that might be a moment for players to show I should be getting a look in the first team. With January coming, people leaving, whatever, people coming, people going. It's a good game to test, you know, the centre back partnership. Now Elaine's gone, have a play around with that. So that's what I'm hoping Javi treats that game. Still treating it with winning in mind, but if we don't, it's not the end of the world. It'd be nice to see some of the players that we haven't really got a chance to see yet.
No, that's a good shout. Joe, one player who won't be involved against Bristol City is Max Elaine. He's been recalled by Manchester City this morning. I know Katie's depressed about it. I hope you got the tissues ready, Caity, because I'm worried about you. I think it's fairly obvious. Massive blow for Watford. Massive part of why we've kept 3 clean sheets in our last 4 games. Why our defence looks much more assured with him at the back with Matty Pollock. It's just a massive blow, isn't it?
Yeah. Do you know what? Just because he's actually he's on and he's listening tonight, I'm going to point this out. James, you gave this to Kirsch yesterday with this post on Instagram.
I saw that, yeah.
I'm fall in love with a lone player. I saw that, and Yeah, we did. We've all fallen for it, and we've all been heartbroken today. So that is your fault. Yeah, do you know what? I was disappointed not to see him more towards the start, and I was delighted to see him get the game time when he did come in. It felt like the right time. It felt like everything was just timed perfectly. That it had it was clear that Javi potentially behind the scenes was obviously working on a system off the field in training, and he got the system that he wanted in place, and it's all coming together. Now, obviously, with this, it is a massive, massive blow for us. As you said, if he'd have played yesterday, I've got no doubt that we'd have been rock solid at the back again yesterday. But as we kind of touched on before, we come live. I think there's a lot to be maybe said between his return and a potential return to Vicarage Road between now and the end of the window. So I wouldn't rule out the fact that he may end up back at Watford before the end of January. But, as we know as Watford fans, let's not get our hopes up, because there is a strong chance that it may not happen, and Pep actually wants to keep him until the end of the season.
No, definitely. I just don't know if I've read too much into this. I'll read the tweet that Watford have put out earlier. Max Alleyne has been recalled from loan by parent club Manchester City. The 20-year-old made 17 appearances for the Golden Boys, particularly impressing at the heart of our defence during our 4-match winning streak. Thanks for your contribution, Max. You are always welcome. You are welcome back anytime. Once a Hornet. ... And the saying is, once a Hornet, always a Hornet. And with them saying you're always welcome back anytime, I don't know if I'm looking too much into this, Caity, but I don't know whether maybe Watford have said, if there's any chance you bring in centre-backs to cover your injury crisis, please can you send him back to us? I don't know if it's just me reading into that or I'm looking into it too much, but I know you would definitely want that return because he's been incredible. And how have you felt about Max Alleyne and obviously him going back?
I mean, I think as well, I think it was the shock factor, and not really knowing not how to process the emotions, because we've never had a loan player that this has ever happened or they've been recalled for being good. Like, we've had players come and go because they've not played or whatever, but this is the first time in a long time that I can remember that we've had a loan player be recalled in January because he's needed, but has also been so good for us that we were really sad to see him go. I mean, I obviously I want the best for him. I think he's been excellent, and I think City will do well with him but I think it is about the game time. I think they're bringing him back to have bodies in there, but I'm not sure how much game time he's actually going to get there, especially if they end up bringing people in through January, which I don't doubt they will. And I really hope that they have said, here, have him because you need him now, but if there's any chance he can come back, even in January, maybe 31st of Jan, we'll be there on deadline day, ready for his return. Or even, next season, who knows? He's not going back to City to be their number one. No way. I understand they need bodies in right now because they've got their injury, but they're Man City. They're not going to give a 21-year-old guy who's just been at Watford suddenly is going to start every single game for them. It's just not how Man City works. So I'm really hoping that if he's not getting game time, he can come back, because he's been excellent for us. So good for us. Like this tweet says, he's the heart of the defense. Since he's come back in, we've been brilliant at the back. We've had the first solid defense in a long time. And Matty Pollock even posted on Twitter, on Instagram this evening when it was announced, saying a little message my partner, gonna miss you, whatever. So, and even Irakunda was posting today about it. So that
he liked your comment, didn't he?
Yeah, he liked my comment. That gave me false hope because I thought he knew something I didn't. But obviously I was wrong. But I do think it's obviously really tough, and I guess he doesn't really have a say in if they need him, they need him. He can't really just be no. So it is what it is. It's obviously really tough. if there's any chance he can come back, I'm sure that he will. So I'll be holding out hope, because I would hate to see him just sit on the bench or even be like third or fourth choice for the rest of the season when he's playing, consistent first team football here and been one of our best players this side of the year. So yeah, it's obviously really gutting, because I think it feels like the whole thing, then this, what's next? Like, so yeah, and it's obviously really tough, but I'm hoping that in another life he can come back.
I do just want to stick my neck out. I'm going to stick my neck out here and actually say that I think that based on the way he's been playing for Watford, and
he was off to a World Cup with England in the summer. Go on, Max.
Well, not as far as that, but I think I do believe that you know what Pep's like about bringing the odd youngster through. You look at people like Oscar Bob, Nico O'Reilly, Phil Foden, Rico Lewis. There's a few people there that are superb players for City, and he does every now and then like to bring a youngster through, and he's talked a lot about Max over the last at the beginning of the season when he sent him. He said that he's highly regarded. He did want him back in amongst the first team when he came back. If he does come back to Watford for the rest of the season, we are that lucky to get him back, and he then goes back to City, I do think he's going to be a starter for City next season, potentially. And who knows? I mean, I've been saying for a little while that England are lacking with centre-backs. If he's playing regularly for Man City and he's playing well for Man City, what's to say he's not going to be in the England first-team squad within the next sort of 12, 18 months?
No, definitely. I think he's excellent. He's 1v1. He's great. He's great in the air. Ball playing centre back, comfortable under pressure. He's like composed on the ball, mature beyond the years. Like he's destined for the top, isn't he, Caity?
Yeah, he's excellent, and it took him a bit of time to get settled, and then since he's come back into the team, sort of when Javi first came, when it was playing like Matty and Kevin, like he was only getting a look in, and now once he started getting that look in, that back line was almost unchangeable because of how solid it was. And I hope he goes to City and plays, because I want him to do well. He's been excellent for us, and it's not like he's leaving with bad blood. Like, he's leaving a hero, and it's just a shame. And I really hope he goes to City and does really well. I just think with the links to them trying to sign what's his name? Yeah. If they get him, you're not going to start over him. And Man City, I know they'd like to bring up their young players, but if there's a chance to buy someone who is experienced, who's decent, they're going to pick that. You're not going to start over those people. So I just think, like, for him, he's still in a development phase, and I think that I understand it's their injury crisis, but to recall him now when we were doing like so well and he was doing really well, it's tough. And if anything, you shouldn't really recall people in January, especially when they're doing well. I feel like that should be a law.
Well, especially for us anyway. We want to keep hold of him. It was our hope for promotion this season. Joe, obviously Max Lane going, it does open a door and opportunities for other centre halves at the football club. James Abankwah, Foremost Mendy, and also Kevin Cavan. Who do you potentially see coming in to partner Matty Pollock?
Well, I don't know if I misread, but I'm pretty sure someone said that Foremost Mendy has been mentioned as being ready, being trusted, and ready to play. So, I mean, look, we've heard so many good things about this guy. They put over €6.5 million price tag on him, so he's got to be good for that sort of price tag. Let's see how good he actually is in that position. Get him playing in the right position. Let's see what he can do, and see if he's as good as Max. But if not, I wouldn't mind seeing James Abankwah coming back in. obviously my only concern is I think when Abanka and Pollock have played together at centre back, he's played Pollock as the left centre back, hasn't he, and Abanka as the right. So we'd see Pollock go out of position again. I don't really want to see that, if I'm being completely honest. We know foremost Mendy's plays as the right side of a partnership as well, doesn't he? So potentially it would be the same with him too. So yeah, I don't know. My only concern is with the fact that Matty Pollock's been playing so well because he's been playing in the correct position. If we move things around again, I'm not saying that he's not awful in that position. He's just not as well suited. So that could disrupt things. Kevin Caben, I'll be honest, I mentioned it in our chat. I said I wouldn't be disappointed if, and this was obviously with Max still being here, I wouldn't be disappointed if Caben got loaned out to the end of the season, because I don't really think he's going to get much game time. Obviously, as it is now, he would be probably my last choice out of those three centre-backs, if I'm being honest. Do you agree, Ben? Do you think Caben would get ahead of those two?
I don't know. It depends. It depends what kind of Kevin Caben you're going to get, because we see glimpses of him and he looks a Rolls Royce in defence. He looks amazing, strong on the ball, pace, but also he looks shaky as hell when his confidence is low. And he was probably, I was describing at the start of the season, Watford's best defender. Now we're looking at him going, oh, we might have to loan him out because he's not going to get much game time. And with foremost Mendy, it's hard to rule him out completely because we can't judge him yet because he's played one game and that was out position. I feel like we need to give him a crack, and like Caity said earlier, Bristol City could be a great opportunity for him to come in and show us what he can do and show Javi. The only worry for Mendy to come in straight away is purely down to the communication in that back line. We've heard reports that he didn't really speak English when he came to the country. I don't know how that's progressed since he's joined Watford. It might be really well. Equally, might not have gone anywhere. And we saw with our back line we had with Bowler, Ngakia, Pollock, Elaine, great communication. They knew and understood each other. Like, you could turn the lights off at night and you would know where everyone was and like what job they had to do. And to throw someone in like Mendy, it could cause issues. So for me, I think I would have to edge towards James Abankwa. And I think he's probably the closest we've got to Max Elaine, where he can travel with the ball. He can get out of his feet quickly like Max did. The only problem with Abankwa is he's got that mistake in him. If he doesn't get that mistake in him, he's another top draw defender. But I'm hoping that maybe his mistakes won't cost us too much, because at the moment we're showing that we can go and score 2-3 goals, whereas earlier on in the season we wasn't really getting that out of the team. So I'm hoping that maybe James Abankwa would be the ideal replacement. But if he comes into the team, please, Javi, stick him over on the left-hand side, because you're getting the best out of Pollock over on the right. Let him just focus on being that old-school defender, and he can just concentrate on using his right foot. Please don't cut his leg off and put him over on the left-hand side, because you're not going to get the best out of Pollock, and we need him to be what he's producing week in, week out at the moment. And he's producing performances as a player of the season at the moment. He's up there with Mark Bowler and Imran Louza. Those three are like, they're miles ahead of everyone else. So consistent, over 7 out of 10 a week, maybe 8 out of 10 the last month, especially maybe 9 out of 10. So yeah, I'd say probably James Abankwa for me, Joe. Caity, what do you reckon? Who would you say would be maybe your preferred option to come in at centre back?
I think I would like to see what Mendy can do. However, like we've been saying, we need him, like, we're going for promotion. Like, we need him to come in and be ready now, and not this, like, let's give him some time to settle. He's had like 9 months of not playing, but he's been dealing with his issues or whatever he's got on. Whatever, we don't care about that. We want you to come on the pitch and do well. We will give you, like, he'll get his chance, and I think he will get his chance, and I hope he gets his chance. But if he gets on that pitch and he's terrible, Gino, pay up. Just go and get a Max Elaine type player and bring him here. Or go to Pep and just be like, give him to me, give him back. He's like third choice, give him back now. It is about, if I would say a Banquer for me, I do agree with that, because we have seen a lot of that partnership of Pollock and a Banquer in the past, and they played very well together. And I think a Banquer should be in the team, because if you don't, I think he's done really well. I just think you're putting a lot of trust in Mendy to come out and be what Max Lane is. And I just hope that he can kind of live up to that. I mean, he's been hyped up all summer, all season. We're waiting for this guy, and now he's going to get a chance. And I do think that he'll get his chance on in the Bristol game. I'm ready to be like blown out of my chair. Like, I'm ready for that. So the boots are big. What's the saying? Like, the shoes are big to fill, something. That's what he's got to step up and be ready. But if not, then I think a Banquer does well. That, again, I'm not a fan of Kevin. I think he kind of tarnished his reputation a bit at the start of this season. I don't trust him. I think like you said, he's the worst out of them. He's okay to come off the bench maybe, but when he was playing, all the mistakes he was making, it was just like, oh my God. And him and Pollock, I'm not sure it really kind of worked with them. And it made Pollock look worse as well. And then as soon as Elaine comes in, even when he's playing with a Banquer, I think he does well. So I'm sure Mendy will get his chance, but if not, bye. Just leave.
I think the weekend's going to be interesting now, because I think with Max going back to City, I could have seen Javi playing one of the two at City, Bristol City at the weekend. I reckon that Matty Pollock would have been given a rest at the weekend.
True.
I think he would have played Max Elaine and somebody else at centre back. He could have maybe played a Banquer maybe there, or brought Caben in. Obviously, with now Max going back, I do think if Foremost Mendy was going to come in, he almost needs Matty Pollock there, because I think he needs a Matty Pollock head next to him. And I don't think you can chuck him in and say, right, Foremost Mendy and Kevin Caben, or with Ngaki been out injured, I don't think he's going to risk potentially him at the weekend, in which case a Banquer would play right back. So it's going to be interesting to see kind of what he goes with at the weekend. If I'm being completely honest, I think he'll probably go a Banquer, Pollock, Foremost Mendy, and he'll stick with Bowler. I think, again, if Max was there, I think he may have potentially played James Morris at left back, because I think he probably feels like he still could, to be fair. He still could go James Morris, because I do think Bowler needs a rest, and I do think I'm more than happy. I said to my friend this morning on the phone, I said, I'm more than happy to sacrifice this game, give some people a rest, because the fixtures, if this whole game get chucked into the mix as well, we've got 3 home games out of 4 at the moment, leading up to the end of the month at home, in Millwall, Portsmouth and Swansea at home, and Blackburn away. They're all winnable games for us. We're great at home. We can potentially get maximum points out of the home games. And we've got a winnable away game. So I'd rather get the points in the league and say bye-bye to the FA Cup. I know I was saying I wouldn't mind a cup run in the FA Cup. However, the league, with these wins over the last few weeks, and now us 4 wins on the bounce, we're well in the mix. We want to keep that going. We want to keep the league going. We'll get to the FA Cup final next season when we're back in the Premier League.
Love it. Caity, another player has been recalled to their parent club, and that's now Caleb Wiley. He's gone back to Chelsea. this is all injury related, and if I'm being totally honest, this should have happened a while back. He's been on the sidelines for a long time. I think the last time we saw him was away at Sheffield United when he blazed the ball over into a Watford fans with that chance that he had in the second half. And poor old Mark Bowler, like Joe said, he's not had a rest since. Perfect opportunity now to obviously free up that loan space and to bring in a left back, which we'll talk about a little bit in a minute. But yeah, needed to happen probably sooner than now.
Yeah, and I think it's really disappointing because I do really like Wiley. I mean, what we saw of him last season, I think he was excellent. And when we got him again in the summer, like we were all really like excited. I was really happy, and I have no doubts that I'm sure we could get him again if he gets out of this injury. But like you said, he is taking up a lone spot right now, and he's not playing. Let him get over his injuries with no pressure of kind of needing him back. Let him get over his injuries. Go back to Chelsea. He can chill there. And, you know, next year, if he gets over his injuries and we get him again. Like, I wouldn't say no. I think he has shown some real talent. But I do think, like, now this is a real test of where we are in the league and how committed we are to actually going for promotion. This transfer window, I actually didn't think this transfer window would be that exciting for us because I thought we'd probably just pretty much stay. But actually, I think this is going to be a really telling window of how much the owners and, you know, really want to push for promotion here. Like you said, the left back should be a priority. There's other areas that I think should be priorities. And I do think that will be telling where we make those improvements of how much we actually want to go for it.
No, I agree.
Oh, Max,
no, don't read that out. I'll literally cry.
Max has posted a few minutes ago. I've really enjoyed my time at Watford. I've had the privilege of working with some amazing players and staff who've helped me massively. The supporters were amazing to me, and I'll remember those special away days. I wish everyone at the club the best for the rest of the season and the rest of their careers. Thank you, Hornets.
Oh, what a lovely chap.
That screams I'm not coming back.
Yeah, it does to me, but who knows?
Yeah,
who knows?
that does, yeah.
You should have put "see you soon" with the eye emoji.
Yeah, my comment and say, if I'm dropping Gay off, do you want me to pick you up and bring you back at the same time?
when we get Man City in the next FA Cup draw.
Oh, that would be a sucker, wouldn't it? Can you imagine that, getting City in the FA Cup and Pep playing?
You know what it just screams to me? We just need to get promoted for Max now. We've got to go up, get promoted, and then you know what we do next season? We sign him on loan from City because he's not going to have any playing time because they would have brought in Mark Gay, probably other centre-halves. He's not going to get a look in. Oh, you want to give him Premier League football? Send him back to Vicarage Road because that's where Premier League football's going to be about, baby.
Oh, yeah.
I will be honest, though, a lot of City fans in the last 10 minutes have been commenting on the post and saying, I'm not sure why we've recalled him. There's a lot of City fans are a bit bewildered by that. So I don't know, bit odd. It could be that Pep is actually going to just throw him straight in.
Who knows? Like you say, he has an eye for English talent, doesn't he? And he does give them opportunities. And they've got Exeter City this weekend in the FA Cup, and the rumours are that Max Alleyne would be given the opportunity to start. So look, he's got to go out there and impress Pep now. I'm sure he will. He's a stellar of a kid, and he's a great footballer. So, and he's got the right mentality as well. He looks absolutely everything you need in a modern day centre half. So hopefully, only success for him. But we'll see you again in the summer, Max, when you join the mighty Hornets on loan next season in the Premier League. Next, we wanted to talk about potential couple of rumours. One's much more likely to happen than the other. We'll talk about one that's not likely to happen. Harry Amos, being recalled from his loan spell at Sheffield Wednesday back to Manchester United. Obviously, we all know the links with him with Watford Football Club. He was came through our academy, left when he was 16 years old, played in the FA Youth Cup for Watford, actually become Watford's youngest player to feature on a bench matchday squad. He was on the bench away at Reading. He didn't come off the bench to feature for the Hornets, but that's the closest he had to first team action for us. Manchester United came in and took him away, paid the minimal fee for compensation, which was probably about £250,000, which isn't much. He's gone on to make his debut for Manchester United, played a few Premier League games. Then he left to join Sheffield Wednesday on loan this season. Manchester United have paid for absolutely everything due to the circumstances that has been happening at Sheffield Wednesday. And he has been Sheffield Wednesday's best player by far this season. Very attacking-minded player. He's won Player of the Month on 2 or 3 occasions for Sheffield Wednesday. And it's no surprise that attention from other Championship clubs have gone his way, and he's been recalled by Manchester United, and he looks like he's on his way back out on loan. Rumoured clubs are Wrexham and Stoke City that are after him, so it'd be interesting to see what happens. But there was a link saying that Watford were interested and looking at the possibility of bringing Harry Amos back to Vicarage Road on loan. I personally think that it probably wouldn't have been the best move for Watford or Harry, only because we've got Mark Bowler in that position. You can't guarantee Harry Amos the minutes that he has been getting at Sheffield Wednesday, where he's been playing week in, week out, getting 90 minutes. That's not going to do his development any good being sitting on the bench for Watford. Fantastic backup for Mark Bowler if he got injured, but realistically, he wouldn't be getting many minutes. So I don't see that happening. Caity, what's your thoughts on that move for Harry Amos? And did you think it was ever going to be a starter, or did you hope he would have came?
Yeah, I mean, honestly, I honestly don't really remember him. He's not someone I remember. I think as well, I agree with what you're saying. He's been playing, 90 minutes every week, and Bola is our number one. And also I'm not sure you want to bring in somebody who's going to challenge Bola for the number one spot, because you don't need that. You need a solid backup person, but you need someone who is happy to do that. And I think that Harry will be going somewhere that he knows he can get consistent football. And for me, Bola is performing so highly that there is no way you would want to bring someone in to be like, oh, let's just keep you on your toes about if you're going to start or not. So I definitely think that whoever we need to get someone in that position regardless. But I'm not sure it should be Harry. Plus, I did see some links that us being in for him was actually not true, or someone said that it's fake news. But I do think it is a priority. But again, like you said, it needs to be someone who can kind of rotate with Bola, because Bola, he's been excellent this season, so good. And it's more about he deserves a rest. And for me, James Morris doesn't. I mean, again, we've not really seen him that much, but James Morris for me is not someone who I'm yes, James Morris is coming on. But we'll see. Maybe he'll play on Saturday.
Yeah, I think sometimes it's down to agents' talk. I think they see Watford are losing their left back. With Wiley going back to Chelsea, agents are trying to big up their players, aren't they? And they're like, oh, let's maybe sell a story to a journalist and say that Watford are interested to try and generate other interest from other clubs. So I think it was just purely that Watford have obviously looked at another option, who we'll talk about now. Joe, come to the South American correspondent for a Voice of the Vic. He studies hard in the Argentinian league. Joe, what do you know much about Julio Sola? Or I've probably butchered that name, but a young under-20s Argentinian international, captains the team of my mama's Morocco team in the under-20s World Cup. Obviously was on the losing end to mama. But yeah, captain material for his national team. I've seen reporters say today that if he gets good minutes under his belt at Watford, maybe he could be a maybe a possibility to get into the World Cup squad for Argentina in the summer. So I think there's a lot of maybe expectation and hype about Julio Sola. But tell me what you know about him, Joe.
Not. I mean, I know as much as that he's played 3 games for Bournemouth in the league this season. He's played 1 game in the EFL Cup, and he's made 5 appearances for the under-23s for Argentina. So yeah, I don't really know too much.
You know more than me, then. Well done.
He's not had too much game time, but there is I've seen that there is a lot of hype around this guy. And yeah, I did see the comment that if he got some good minutes and played really well for Watford, then there's a chance that he could go to the World Cup, which is a massive, massive statement to be making, because obviously we're only a championship club, and you'd kind of expect all of Argentina's players to be coming from kind of big European clubs. Well, obviously in our eyes, Watford are a huge European club, but yeah, it's surprising me because, as we're talking about, Bowler has been excellent for us, and I can't help but feel that with this loan, I think Bournemouth want him to play. I think, I think by the sounds of it, we've got a fantastic relationship with Bournemouth, even though the Jefferson thing didn't work out. It sounds like Watford wanted a left back. He was spoken about very quickly. It said that both parties agreed very quickly, and that there was a good relationship between the 2 clubs. I think that if he does come in, there is a potential that we're going to see less of Bowler this season for the rest of the season, which I don't really want, in my opinion, because I think he's earned his starting place in the team. But look, all I want for Watford is a good squad, good competition, people playing their best, because if they're playing their best, then it will keep people out of the team, but we're getting the best out of people then. And if Julio Sola comes into the club and he plays really well and he's starting every week, then so be it. I'll be gutted that Mark Bowler comes out of the team, but at the same time, we'll have a good player there in that position, and we know that if Bowler needs to come back in, then he'll be ready. But yeah, I am excited by this one. I'm not going to lie. I mean, like I say, from what I've seen of people talking about him, he's meant to be really, really good, and I think it's kind of worked out really well, because I do think Bournemouth wanted to send, from what I read, they were looking to send him out on loan, but were unsure about where they were going to send him. And as soon as Wiley went, that was it. It seemed to the jigsaw seemed to fit perfectly at that point, and it's happened very quickly. So
is that one more likely, do you think?
Yeah, it seems like it's going to be done in the next 24 hours from what I've been
reading.
Really?
Oh wow.
Yeah, it seems like it's going to get over the line very, very quickly.
Where Jake actually said, when we was talking about the selections for Bristol City the weekend, he had actually said, I'll play Julio Sola Saturday if we signed and ready. So yeah, option to give Mark Bowler that rest straight away. I think it's obviously a strong signing, it seems like. Potentially not first team straight away, but it obviously gives Hadvi that option to rotate, doesn't it, Caity?
Yeah, and I think that's what, we're coming, normally our January time is where we really start to suffer with our injuries, and, we're doing a bit more better because we've got Bar coming back and Vata within the next month or so. I mean, I'm not sure, soon-ish. So I think it is about, managing players' game time well. Like, for example, I think like Loser should get a rest. And the thing is with Loser is you just know he wants to play every game. Like, that even like he's been playing through injury for the last like that shoulder thing he had. He's been playing through that. And, a lot of these players, they just want to play football. And I do think it's important to manage. I think Javi did really settle on that kind of starting 11, which is obviously great, but you do have to manage people's minutes, especially now with the amount of games that are coming up and how the position that we're in and how important these games are. It'll be good for Georgie to have another week of rest. So yeah, like we were saying, I would like to see a rotation come in so that we can see some players play games that haven't played, like Mendy get a chance, Morris maybe get a chance, and try and see how that partnership might work in a game. And then I also think as well, give some players a rest. Like I think we'll see Luca rested, Luz rested, maybe even Mama. Maybe Mum will be on the bench. Maybe Irakunda might start. So I think there'll be a mix. I think it won't be completely like academy bench players. I think it will be a solid mix. But it will be interesting. I'm excited to see now because I feel like the game was a nothing game for me yesterday. But now with Elaine going, the whole game being postponed, it feels like there's a bit more in it now, just to see kind of where we are at this stage. But for me, I'm what Joe said, I'm very happy to sacrifice this game if it means we're focusing on the league and, you know, use this game as a bit of like a practice, see how the other players play when they're out there. And then it also helps highlight and identify targets for the rest of the January window.
No, I agree. I'm conscious about time, and we was going to talk about the Birmingham City game because we haven't done a podcast for that. So very quickly, we'll just come to both of you. Joe, Birmingham City 3-0 victory at home on New Year's Day. Do you reckon that was probably our best overall performance of the season?
No, actually, I still think Middlesbrough was better. I think, I think just because Middlesbrough were better at the time, and I think we nullified their threats quite well. I'll be honest, while I was nervous, because you're always nervous going into a game. It doesn't matter who you're playing. Obviously, we were nervous going into Sheffield Wednesday. Look what happened. Like things can happen in games of football. You go behind, you're then struggling to get back in. With Birmingham, I thought if we were to get the first goal, Birmingham would kind of fold and crumble. That was exactly the case. It seemed fairly easy. Their fans were chanting, weren't they, taking the mick out of their sideways, backwards passing. It seems that their fans have had enough. Really, a little bit of them on the road. So yeah, as soon as we went a goal down, for me, it was just a case of just making sure we got the second quickly, which we did. And then it was just seeing the game out, really, just seeing what else we could do to add to it. I think in the end, really, we probably could have won 4 or 5-0, really, with some of the chances that we had overall in the game. Obviously, Tom Ince could have had 4, 5 alone because he had so many chances. Don't think I've ever seen Tom Ince get so many chances and so much space on a Vicarage Road. Being in a Watford shirt or opposing team, so I'm sure he was delighted with his performance, and it just kind of really summed up for me how good he's been. Obviously, I've talked about him a lot on the pod recently and said really pleased for him. I think he deserves everything he gets at the moment. He's shown what a great squad player he is, a great professional, and I'm looking forward to seeing what he can bring to the squad for the rest of the season. So yeah, fantastic win. But yeah, I wouldn't say it was our best still, but yeah, fantastic to get 3 points.
Yeah, I like those podcasts that we've done a couple of weeks ago now, Joe, because we were both bigging up Tom Ince and saying how important he is to this system. And it's nice to see that he's getting rewards now. It's not just for tucking in and making it difficult for the oppositions. He's actually showing that he can be a threat still going forward. And that third goal was absolutely outstanding. What a strike. Like, he's just a great modern day pro, and he's just worked hard. And you know what? When we signed Tom Ince, there was a lot of stigma about him, and a lot of people said he's a bad egg. You've not heard one thing about that during his time at Watford. All you've heard about is Tom Ince training hard on the training ground and being that model day pro. That's all you've heard about. You've not heard a bad word said against him. So I'll hold my hands up and I'll say, Tom Ince, I apologise. I was a bit conscious when you joined Watford and I didn't know what kind of player I was going to get. From what we're seeing is you work hard for the team and you don't throw your toys out the pram and you always give 110%. And I'll take that all day long. So that's my apology for Tom Ince. Caity, what did you take out of the Birmingham game, and what was the thing you probably enjoyed the most out of the win?
Yeah, I thought we were excellent. I mean, it was a very solid, very convincing win. I thought we looked really comfortable. I did think Birmingham were dreadful I really was not impressed by them. And then I was really shocked that they went on and beat Coventry the next game. I was like, oh, what did we do? Like, did we reignite the fire inside of them or something? They decided to suddenly try. But no, I thought, Tom Ince, again, he was brilliant. I thought everything was brilliant. There wasn't a lot to fault. And I think it is just about like how we play and how we start. We're not giving anyone any, respect. We come in, we do our stuff, and, we do really, really well. And it's great to see us getting clean sheets back to back, and just scoring goals now, because we went through a bit of a goal drought recently where we weren't getting any goals. But no, I thought it was excellent. And like you said, it's just about building momentum now. So, I was feeling confident going into Hull that we would try our best and get something. So yeah, but no, it was a really, really good game. Good to start the new year on a high, and beating anyone 3-0 is always good.
Yeah, and it's a shame we've got to wait a couple of weeks now for return of the league action. It'll be Millwall up next now in the Championship for Watford, 12:30 kickoff. But the attention for Watford now turns to Ashton Gate on Saturday. I think it's a 5:30 kickoff. It will be live on TV as well. Strange one. They go through the list and go, FA Cup third round. Let's have a look at the big ties. Bristol City, Watford, that'll do me. I think it's on like Discovery Plus, isn't it, Joe?
Yeah, it's 5:45, I believe. Yeah, and it's
okay.
Every game is on in the FA Cup this weekend. So every game is being streamed. It's one of these new things, like the League Cup is done through Sky Sports. I think there's a deal where every FA Cup game is going to be streamed now through Discovery Plus, TNT, BBC, moving forward. So yeah, it won't miss a kick in the FA Cup for the rest of the season now.
Yeah, it will be out for the fourth round, but yeah. But okay, yeah, brilliant. Cheers for that, Joe. So yeah, that's all about it now for this episode of The Voice of the Vic. A big thank you to Caity and Joe for joining me, and as always, a massive thank you to everyone who's been listening along, and we really appreciate the support. If you've enjoyed the episode, make sure to comment with your thoughts, especially on the whole postponement, the recalls, and where you think this Watford side is heading. And don't forget to subscribe and follow us across all our platforms, and you'll never miss an episode. We'll be back soon for more Watford chat, but for now, thanks for listening, and come on, you Orns.